Have you ever felt like you're just not quite getting it right at work? Like there's some secret handbook that everyone else read but you? Well, you are definitely not alone. In this explainer, we're going on a mission together. A mission to go from feeling awkward to feeling awesome. And we're going to start by totally rethinking what professionalism even means today. This right here, this quote flips the whole idea of professionalism on its head. For so long, we've thought of it as this stiff, rigid set of rules we have to follow. But it's not. Think of it more like earning liberties. The more you build that solid foundation of trust, the more freedom you have to be your most creative, authentic self. Okay, so let's get into our first section and build that foundation. We're going to get to the absolute core of professionalism, because if we don't know what it really is, how can we ever expect to master it? So for a minute, let's just forget the old images of suits and briefcases. When you boil it all down, and I mean really strip away all the corporate speak, professionalism is just one simple, incredibly powerful idea. Respect. Respect for yourself, respect for others, and respect for the work you're doing. And you know the number one way to show that respect? Just follow through. When you do what you say you're going to do, you're not just checking off a task, you're building your reputation. Now, this is a super important distinction that, honestly, a lot of people get wrong. There's a huge difference between authenticity and just plain carelessness. Of course, you should be your authentic self at work. It's been shown to boost motivation and trust, but it has to come with responsibility. Professionalism is basically the bridge that connects who you are with the team you're on. Without it, your unique personality might just come off as unreliable or chaotic. So here's the bottom line. Earning trust on the small stuff is what unlocks your freedom for the big stuff. Once you've proven that you've got the basics down, showing up on time, hitting your deadlines, people will be excited to hear your creative, out-of-the-box ideas. All right, we've got our foundation. Now let's talk first impressions. You only get one shot, right? And it happens way faster than you think. This isn't about putting on a fake personality. Not at all. It's about being intentional about the signals you're sending from the very first moment. Yep, you are seeing that correctly. 100 milliseconds. According to research, that's literally all the time it takes for someone to form a lasting impression of you. It's the blink of an eye. So before you've even had a chance to say hello, a judgment has already been made. That's why the little things matter so much. So how do we make those 100 milliseconds work for us? Well, it starts with these signals of confidence. How you carry yourself, making eye contact, a good handshake. They speak volumes. But here's the thing. In our world, your first impression probably happens before anyone even sees you in person. Your social media, your online footprint, that's your digital handshake. And you can bet people are looking. This question right here is the golden rule for your online life. It's the ultimate filter. If the answer is, maybe not, then that's a pretty clear sign it shouldn't be public. Again, this isn't about being fake. It's about being smart. You're the curator of the story people read about you before you've even met. Okay, on to our third section, communication. I want you to start thinking of every word you say and every email you write as a kind of currency, and how you spend that currency has a direct impact on the respect you get back. I know, this seems totally obvious, but you'd be surprised how easily the lines get blurred these days. The super casual, emoji-filled way we text our friends, it just doesn't work in a professional setting. And honestly, learning that difference is a career game changer. Let's just look at the difference here. Hey, what's up is fine for friends, but at work, it's vague and kind of low effort. It doesn't really inspire confidence. But a clear, direct question like, I wanted to check if it's possible to extend the deadline to Friday, that communicates respect for the other person's time and shows you're focused. It's not just about the words, it's about the signal of competence you're sending. I remember communication is a two-way street. It's not just about what you say, it's about how well you listen. Try this in your next meeting. Instead of just waiting for your turn to talk, really truly focus on what the other person is saying. When people feel like you've actually heard them, they are so much more likely to trust you. It's a leadership superpower. Okay, this next part can be a little tough to swallow, but I promise you, it is absolutely essential for growth. We have to change the way we think about criticism. Ugh. Hearing those two words can feel like a punch to the gut, right? It feels like a personal attack. And our first instinct, our gut reaction, is almost always to get defensive, to argue back, or to just shut down completely. But what if instead of building a wall, you opened a door? A simple phrase like, I see it differently, totally changes the whole vibe. It respects their opinion without throwing yours away, and it keeps the conversation moving forward. The goal stops being about who's right and starts being about finding the best solution. Ask yourself this question every single time you get tough feedback. It's the secret to not taking things so personally. Because, look, 9 times out of 10, the feedback is about the project, the task, the work, not about your value as a human being. Separating those two things lets you see criticism for what it really is: data. It's just valuable information you can use to get better. Here it is, a simple phrase that will save you in almost any difficult situation. Thanks for your feedback. That's it. Even if you are absolutely fuming on the inside, saying this buys you time. It shows you're mature, you're in control, and it stops things from escalating. It keeps the door open to come back to it later when you've had a chance to cool down. All right, let's bring it all home with our final section. We've covered reliability, first impressions, communication, and handling feedback. Now we're going to see how all of those things work together to build the single most valuable asset you have, your personal brand. No, really, take a second. Think about it. What are those 3 words? Because whether you're paying attention to it or not, your brand is being built. Every single day, with every email, every conversation, and every promise you keep or break. The most important thing to get is that your brand is not some logo or tagline. It's what people think and feel when they hear your name. And that perception is built on one thing: consistency. It's not about what you say you are, it's about what you do, day in and day out. And this brings us to one of the fundamental truths of the working world. Reliability will beat raw talent every single time. Think about it. Someone who's brilliant but you can't count on, that's a risk. But someone who is consistent, dependable, and trustworthy, that person is an asset. Trust is the ultimate currency, and reliability is how you earn it. So let's be clear, the big takeaway here is not that you have to be perfect. You don't. You're going to make mistakes. Everybody does. Success is about how you handle those mistakes. It's about being prepared, bouncing back when you get knocked down, and having the courage to just keep showing up. And that right there brings us back to our mission. Going from awkward to awesome isn't some huge overnight change. It's about all the little intentional choices you make every single day. Every deadline you meet, every piece of feedback you take, every time you choose to listen, you're writing another sentence in your professional story. You are the author. So, what's it going to say?